We're going to switch our focus now and talk about functions. We'll spend the next several weeks talking about functions and different types of functions. First thing we're going to talk about are domain and range and if things are functions or not. Some definitions. Domain is your x value. The range is your y value. So if you have an ordered pair, your x is the domain, your y is the range. A relation is any set of ordered pairs. So anytime you have one ordered pair or multiple, it is called a relation. And then for a relation to be a function, every domain can only have one range value. So every x can only have one y value. How this was taught to me when I was in high school is you have to think of a function as a machine. So if we have our machine here, this would be the beginning would be our domain, and the end would be our range, or our output. Domain would be input, range would be output. So if you put your domain through the machine, it can only get one answer out of it. Like I can't put if I put 3 in the machine and it comes out as a 1, I can't put 3 in again and it come out as a different number. It can only have each x can only have one y value. Each domain can only have one range. To tell if a graph is a function or not, you do what's called the vertical line test. What the vertical line test is if you have a graph with a line or a figure drawn on it, you take a vertical line throughout any point of that graph. If the graph touches the vertical line only once throughout the entire thing, it is a function. But if it touches it more than once, if it touches the vertical line at 2 different spots, it is not a function. So to pass the vertical line test, it can only touch the vertical line once. So for example, we want to identify the domain range and to determine if it's a function or not. So we said before, our domain is our x values. So in this problem, we have the relation 3, 1, 4, 6, negative 9, 5. So our domains would be our 3, 4, and negative 9. And our y's would be, or our ranges would be the y values, which are 1, 6, and 5. So if we look at our domains, or our x's, none of the x's repeat, which means they all go to just one y value. 3 only goes to 1, 4 only goes to 6, negative 9 only goes to 5. That means it is a function. The second one for our domain is our x values. So that would be 6, 6, and negative 5. For our range, it would be 4, 6, and 9. So if you look at this one, we have 6. It shows up twice. Right? 6 goes to 4 once, and then it goes to 6 another time. That can't happen. If that happens, this is not a function. Short for function is fn. And so you have to look here how 6 goes to 4 and 6 goes to 6. Since that happens, since 6 repeats in the domain, that makes it not a function. Another way to look at functions is by tables. So by tables, the same thing. To tell if it is a function, the x cannot repeat, or cannot repeat with a different y. So if we look at this problem, our domain is our x values, which would be 0, 1, and 2. Our range is our y values, which are 5, 3, and 4. And if you look at our x column, they don't repeat. We have 0, 1, and 2. They're all different domains. Nothing repeats. That makes it a function. This way is called mapping. Right? The values on the left are considered your domain. The values on the right are considered your range. So in this problem, our domain would be 1, 2, and 3. Our range can be 4, 5, and 6. Right? So to tell if this is a function or not by mapping, you have to look at the arrows. 1 all matches up with 5 and only 5. 2 matches up with 4 and only 4. 3 matches up with 6 and only 6. Since they only go to one number each, that makes it a function. Look at our second one. Our domain would be 1, 2, and 3. Our range would be 3 and 4. It's the right hand side. And then let's look at 1. 1 goes to 3 and 4. Right? If something on the left hand side goes to two different things on the right hand side, that makes it not a function. That means our domain is repeating or cheating on the range. Domains can't cheat. And then the last way, by graph, to tell if it's a function or not, we're not going to worry about domain and range here. We're just going to worry about telling if it is a function. So to do that, we have to pass the vertical line test, which I talked about earlier. So vertical line test, the graph can only touch the vertical line once. So if I drew vertical lines on this line, at any point I draw a vertical line, the blue graph is only touching my red vertical lines one time. Since it only touches it once, that makes it a function. Okay, if I do the same thing over here and draw my vertical lines, if I look at how many times they intersect over here, how many times my blue line intersects my red line, here it only intercepts one, but when we get to right here, I'm going to zoom in on it. When we get to right here, the graph touches my vertical line 2 times. Right? Since the graph touches the vertical line 2 times, that makes number 7 not a function. So to be a function, the domain can only have one range, or it has to pass the vertical line test, which means the graph can only touch the vertical line one time.